Okay, hi everybody. Thank you for being real patient with me. As you guys know, we're starting off on a new chapter. So we have chapter 3.1, so if you could please get out your notes and label a brand new sheet of paper, chapter 3.1. Go ahead and do that now. Alright, there are two different things that we're going to try and cover in today's lesson that I want to make sure that you guys know before I get back. And I'll give you a little bit of time to practice for it. The first thing that we have is ACABAR. So at the top of your paper, ACABAR day. And substitute, if you need to, you can pause this at this point in case everyone needs to get out their stuff. Okay, so ACABAR day is kind of interesting because it helps us kind of understand when something is happening. Now we've already had a little bit of experience working with present tense and recent future. So if we were to do our timeline, we've got kind of three different points. The present, which is here, and please write this down guys, okay? We've got the present, which is here, and when we talk in the present tense, we're talking primarily just straight up conjugating AR, ER, and IR verbs. Now, we can use some of the things that we have in the present tense in order to also talk about things that happened in the recent future. So we've got recent future there, okay? Now, with recent future, we're talking about things that we're going to do. So if we talk about things that we're going to do, we're looking at the things that we covered in chapter 2.3 with ir plus a plus infinitive. Ir plus a plus infinitive. Okay? Now, I should probably make you aware, ir plus a plus infinitive, the way that we're conjugating ir is still in the present tense. We haven't gotten to the actual future tense itself. It's just that this one helps us talk about things that are going to happen like more recently, not things that are going to happen real later on in your life. These are things that are going to happen like maybe later today, maybe later this week, something like that. But we're still technically conjugating ir in the present tense in order to talk about things that are coming up in the recent future. Now it seems kind of unbalanced for us to do the present, the recent future, and completely disregard the recent past. So that's the thing that we're working on today. Is the recent past. And with recent past, ACABAR day is the thing that we're going to use, the little formula that we're going to use, very similar to ir plus a plus infinitive, in order to talk about things that just happened. And this is going to be a really helpful timeline for you guys, especially for when you guys go to take the final and stuff, because in the final, not only am I looking for you to tell me kind of a variety of vocabulary and stuff, but I'm also looking for you to tell me the sorts of sentence constructions that we're used to. So you'll be able to talk about things that somebody in the picture is doing right now, things that they are going to do, and things that they may have already done. So for example, you might have somebody like looking like they just came back from the gym. We could say that they just did exercise as opposed to they are doing exercise right now. So when we look at recent future, when we dealt with the yo form, for example, if we wanted to say, let's go with caminar con el perro, because that's one that we're relatively familiar with. If we wanted to say that I'm going to walk the dog, in this case, yo voy a caminar con el perro. Okay? This means roughly, I am going to walk the dog. Okay? So here we're talking in the recent future tense. Now the way that we kind of formulate that sentence where we've got ir plus a plus infinitive is very similar to the way that we're going to deal with ACABAR as well. ACABAR has the little helper day that helps us make the connection there, and in English that really has no meaning to it whatsoever. It's just that that's kind of a formulation that we created in Spanish as well. So this is talking about something that happens in the recent future. To talk about something in the recent past, things that just happened, and that's a way that we can define ACABAR. So I'm going to have this, you define what ACABAR is. ACABAR day means roughly, and this is one that's difficult to translate. ACABAR day means roughly to just finish. Again, it's not a great translation because we don't have something very close to it in English, but it's similar to the way that we have I'm going to in English in the future tense, or in the recent future tense, and then here acabar de is using the recent past. Okay, so very similar to the way that we had this like construction where ir plus a plus infinitive. We're going to have an equation that helps us put together how we talk about the recent past. So the nice thing about acabar is it's a regular AR verb, so we don't have to worry about any kind of complications or anything like that with verb tenses or like the endings or anything like that. So if we put it in the yo form, the natural way that we would deal with acabar in the yo form would be chop off the AR and add what? The yo. Yo acabo, and then we have our connector de. Similar to what we had ir plus a. Now we've got acabar plus de. And then the thing that follows, very similar to what we had in the recent future tense, needs to stay in its infinitive form because we've already got a conjugated verb. And this action isn't being done right now. It's an action that has already happened. So the action that is actually being done by the person is the action of just finishing something. So that's the thing that gets conjugated instead. So yo acabo de, and then we just use our infinitive form. Yo acabo de caminar con el perro. Okay, fairly simple, yeah? Right. Move that up and give you a chance. The substitute, if you find that everyone needs a little bit of time to write the stuff down, now's a really good time to pause. I'll try and have it so this way everyone can see everything. Alright? Okay, and then we'll just come back from that if you don't want to pause it. It's kind of like a weird Dora-esque thing, so I apologize, class, if this is a really surreal kind of thing, but I want to make sure that you guys get the notes, okay? So for the sake of testing it out and stuff like that, I want to give you guys some time just to like try one, okay? So we're going to say, let's go with Jose is your subject, and let's say that your activity, we're going to borrow from this chapter, is ir de compras, which means to go shopping, okay? All I want you guys to do is try that to tell me that Jose just finished going shopping. Take the time now, substitute, definitely pause at this time. Okay, if you didn't pause, that was a really weird pause, but if not, as you should have done, you should have tried this out, so we can at least test to see whether or not you got it right. So, our subject is Jose, and just like we saw with our other examples, we're going to use a form of acabar, and we know that Jose is located in the bottom left-hand corner of our verb chart because we're talking about a he. It's not an I, it's not a you, so it has to be a he because it's only one person. Jose acaba, we get our a ending there. Jose acaba de, make sure that you got the de in there, and then you just include your infinitive phrase. Ir de compras. Okay? If you got it right, then you've pretty much got the idea of what I'm looking for. It's a fairly simple construction, just like we saw with ir plus a plus infinitive. A lot of people are going to want to miss out on the de. If you did miss out on the de, that's something that you write down in your SLM and make sure that when you've got all those notes written in, that you remind yourself that de needs to be included in there. Okay? And I think that's more or less what we're looking for. I'm going to give you guys some opportunities in the activity that I've given you to test this out, but I think from there we can move on to our next topic. Thank you.